See that?
Good.
Can I have one of those water bottles?
Sure. You want a cold one? I don't know if they're being cold in here or not. What? Oh, you could do. Cold one here. You want one cold?
Thank you.
You want cold water?
Okay, good.
You want? Here you go.
All right. We got large capacity. We're almost filled here.
Try again. Yeah, I can hear you.
This is going to be fun stuff here because you all are doing both, right? You're just doing.
I'm just doing fire coach.
But you weren't here at 9, right?
No.
You're Landon?
That's correct.
Pratt?
Yep.
Does that train come every Saturday morning?
The train?
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. Hasn't been too bad yet. Sometimes it gets loud enough we actually just have to stop and it's with gas.
Probably 10 times a day during the work week. You get to where you don't even notice it. So loud. Showed me where the thing was.
Oh,
But basically, that's the hardest part for you all doing both is getting used to giving up one set of rules for the other. You know, you have to be able to turn it on and off. You don't have to worry about it because you're doing straight player.
That's what like this back page is, right?
Yeah. Very back of the book. I'll let you take the chart there, Tim.
yeah. So in the back of that book, there's a chart. It's all the basic rules, from base distance to whether or not there's a drop third strike, whether they can steal, whether they're called a walk, lead off, number of innings, time limits, run limit, pitch limit. So you can find out pretty much all basic stuff you need to know by looking at this chart in the back of the book.
Look at it as a ground rules
Yep.
cheat sheet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
look at that quickly and you can get your ground rules. Right?
Yeah.
Make a note on here. 9U and 10U are going to be 46 feet pitching and 65 foot base this year.
And you was already at 65, right?
65 bases, but it was 45 feet pitching.
We'll have that updated on the website. I don't think we're going to have your rule book printed this year, so you probably want to note that in the rule book you have. Or print out a new sheet from the website once we get it uploaded. We covered the first 3. You don't need to worry about the first 3 here. That's all for the first class. You guys are mainly going to be dealing with the 9U and 10U. And anybody that does softball, you're going to be dealing with 10U softball. Because these two are in the first class, the 7, 8U and the 5, 6U are machine cooked.
Any of you here doing 10U softball? Softball?
Softball.
You are going to do?
You're going to do both. I will say if you're doing both, you'll have an opportunity to pick up maybe a few more games if you do both. We'll probably, like I think Rod said, we'll have one class to cover softball rules because they are a little bit different. But all right, what do you want to jump in here at?
Just 9U.
9U. Again, like Rod said, we're changing this year, so it'll be 46-65 for 9U. There's no drop third strike because there are no leadoffs. Base stealing. We'll get into this rule here in a little bit. We'll go to Rule 3, Section 7. then we'll read the base stealing rule. Number of innings are going to be 6, or an hour and 30 minutes. 5-run rule limit, or 3 outs, whichever occur first. On this time limit, we'll talk a little bit more about time limits on player pitch, because you'll set your timer. We talked about that first, but you'll have a timer when you go down to your field. And the time limit is 1:30, but with baseball, it's not a drop dead with baseball or softball. So you set your timer for an hour 25, because we start no new inning with less than 5 minutes left on the clock. So when the timer goes off, if either team can come back and win, you continue playing until that inning is complete. If not, as soon as the batter's done, the game is over. And we'll cover that a little bit more when we get into rules, but that's just kind of a basic overview of that right now. Same thing with 10U. They're going to get a warning on a balk. Drop third strike, you can call. There is base stealing. There is leadoffs. Like we said, all your basic information is on that sheet that you need to know. The other rules are just basic playing rules. Anything you want to add to that before we go done? Where do you want to go to? Section part 2, playing rules? Or you want to cover anything prior to?
Okay.
31 for playing rules.
Yeah.
So when you look at this will be playing rules. This is for both baseball and softball. These rules apply to both sides. There are separate rules. If you look, we're going to get further down in here. Rule 3 is for all baseball rules that are different, and then the Rule 4 is for softball, which start on page 46 to 51. But we'll start with the rules that are common. All right.
This here, you're pretty much, each player must have played at least 1 inning defense by the completion of the 3rd inning and must be permitted to play a minimum of 3 defensive innings in every scheduled or rescheduled league game of per team, except in these instances. Okay, this isn't a major thing for you to concern about, but it's good for you to know. So if you get questioned, coach comes up to you and asks you, hey, you know, I remember
We're in 4th inning, and I haven't seen these 2 kids on that team out in the field at all. You know, what's the rule?
Right. And these are the exceptions right here. Player must be available and able and willing to play. A manager does not have just cause for withholding a player. If a player is present at the game and will not play, the umpire and chief must be notified prior to the start of the game as to the reason. So if you see a player that's sitting in the dugout and they're not on the roster and they're not playing but they're in uniform, technically the coach's supposed to let you know. Okay? But he got there, got sick after they got to the park, or whatever. Or you'll let the opposing manager know that hey, that player is not feeling well right now, but that player still could come in down the road on the game.
As long as they were on the initial roster to start the game. Once they're scratched from that roster, they can't come back in.
Once they're pulled from injury, okay, they're done.
There is no out, so if you have a player that leaves the game, the only way that, because the coach will ask you, so say you have a player that gets hurt or injured or sick, and they can't continue, so they pull them off the roster, the opposing coach may say, well, that's an automatic out every time that comes up. That is not true in our rule book. The only time that would be the case is if that player got ejected. Then it would be an automatic out when it comes to that place in the batting lineup. Otherwise, everybody just shifts up, the player's out of the game, there's no penalty for that. Right?
Right. And if you have if a player gets injured out on the ball field while they're in the field, okay, and they come out, they're not out of the game, okay, but they can't go back out into the field until they back. Okay? Once they miss their at bat due to the injury, then they're done. Rest of the game. Okay?
So all the teams, so we require by the bat the entire roster, so we don't do a 9-player with subs, or 10 players with subs, or extra players or extra batters. So if one team shows up with 12 on his roster and the other team shows up with 10, they bat the entire roster. So there is nobody sitting on the bench not getting a chance to bat. And that happens when you get the lineup sheets at ground rules, which we'll go over next week. So when they hand you the lineup sheet, that is their batting order for the entire game. They can't change that up. So unless a player is injured or ejected, then they'll be removed from the lineup. And again, that's up to make sure that both teams know when that happens. What do we have? So players listed on the lineup card at ground rules are not present, may not be eligible to play by the umpire. So if the coach hands you a lineup sheet and it's got 12 players on it, but he says, oh, my player that's playing in the 5th and the 8th batting position aren't here yet, they need to scratch those and add them to the bottom list when they get there, because if it comes up to that point, then it is an out, because they're not there, they were on the sheet.
And they won't be eligible to play at all.
So if they're not there, make sure that you notify the coach. Just scratch them off when they get here, put them at the bottom of the lineup. Anything else there you want to hit on that you had problems with?
Any added player must complete one at bat before being allowed to play a defensive position, even if the team has already batted around the entire roster. Okay? So basically, let's say the whole team, they got 9 players. 10 players show they've already batted all 9. He or she goes in as a 10th. Okay? Just when they get there and they said the umpire, the coach says, hey Lou, a player just showed up. Okay, just remind them they can't go out on the field until they bat. Okay.
So they can't show up to the attic and go in and start pitching.
Right.
They have to bat first before they can play.
We had a case where somebody was playing in 2 ages, played at both different parks. Basically what happened was they got done with their game over at Ozzie, came over to Westhoff, okay? He came in, player came in, shut the team down.
Yeah, he was pitcher.
And then turned around, went to the plate, and torched a home run. Win the ball. Pretty good player.
Yeah. He was a JV player playing up in varsity, so.
Completed lineups, sheets with first names, last names, and numbers that we supplied by both teams at ground rules. Refusal will result in an automatic ejection of the manager. Failure to comply within 15 minutes of the game will result in automatic game forfeit.
He picked up pretty good last year, didn't it? So ground rules, they walk up to you and they hand you a lineup sheet, which we'll go over next week. And it has first names, no last name, maybe numbers, or nicknames and numbers. Politely hand it back to the coach, tell him the first names, last names, and numbers. And the coach says, no, I'm not going to do that. This is what you get. Then remind the manager, unless you do that, you will automatically be ejected. And if he says, no, eject me, fine, that manager's gone. Now you go to the assistant coach and say, I need this within 15 minutes, or it's an automatic forfeit on your team. Go ahead and start the game, take note of the time, 15 minutes. If you don't have that lineup sheet completely filled out properly, call game, it's a forfeit. and then let us know, because I'm sure we'll have to deal with the fireworks in the office. But we had too many cases, and this is mainly for liability insurance reasons, because if somebody gets hurt, Rod needs to investigate it, and all he's got on the thing is this was Jack. We don't know who he is, we don't know what his last name is, we don't know, you know.
Yep.
So that's a pretty important one to make sure you get those. And again, you know, just be polite when you say, hey, I need this properly filled out. So, okay.
Player that misses an official time at bat due to any circumstance is out of the game. This does not include batting out of order. The umpire will record the player's name on the scorecard. In the event the player is injured or becomes ill during an official at bat and cannot complete his or her at bat, this player may be replaced by the player who made the last out. Okay? That's the whole key, last out. For any kind of stuff.
So like, if they hit a pop fly and they get out, and the next kid just like, get my attention, breaks it up, and still bring the kid up, the pop fly,
Right.
back and hit.
Right. Last out.
That's right, yeah.
Is it left out or left back?
Last out. So,
I see.
Well, but if they're the first player, it's just the last inning.
Revert back to it, yeah, so if they're the
we're doing
first
the
player,
last out.
yeah,
I
yeah. Whether that be last inning or that inning.
For some rules, it's like last out.
Right.
Yeah.
Player that is removed from the game for any reason other than ejection is not out after their next at bat. They should just be removed from the lineup. Once they miss an at bat, they're out. Okay? But they're just not out.
For the game.
That's right. They're out of the game. It's just not recorded out every time because they just get scratched. Okay?
What they tell them if they try to come back.
If they can't.
By rule,
Yeah. By rule, they just can't.
the coach said, well, show me the rules, say, I don't carry my rule book with me, that's up to you.
It's on them to know. It's on them to know the rules. Okay?
Okay.
And granted, any player that is ejected from the game shall be called out every time they're due up to bat. That's the only instance. Okay? The only instance that I'm aware of in our league rules where outs are counted against the batter. Okay? Is if they got ejected.
And this is basically just for the scorekeepers, the opposing team scorekeeper shall immediately notify and withdraw their additions to the batting order prior to the pitching. Home team is the official scorekeeper, so if we have any issues with the score, or you have any discrepancies during the game of what the score actually is, you can go to the home team scorekeeper, but it's always a good idea to walk over and talk to the visiting team, also make sure that they both match, because if they don't, try to figure out where the problem is. Don't automatically just assume because home team's the official scorekeeper that you're gonna go by that. Tell them, hey, you guys got a discrepancy, maybe you need to talk to each other, figure out what's going on.
Offensive substitution for an injured runner may be made by replacing the injured player with the player who made the last out. Any player removed for a pinch runner batter as a result of an injury or illness may not re-enter the game until his or her next official time at bat. We already talked about that. Okay? They get hurt running the bases, or if they're in the field and they get hurt, they can't go back out on the field either way until they take it back.
It's another one we kind of see out there all the time, especially at the beginning of the summer or beginning of the season. All players must have a number on the back of their uniform. Usually the first, 2-3 weeks of the season, you may have teams out there that don't have matching uniforms or because they haven't got the uniforms in yet and they ordered them late. As long as they have a number on the back of their uniform that's taped or written or something that's different than the other numbers, we're okay with that. If you got players that show up that maybe has a jersey from last year, or they haven't got the uniforms in yet, and there's 2 identical numbers, put a piece of tape on, have it change it. I mean, maybe you have 2 number 10s, we'll make one 100 or something, just to get through the game. That was the only thing on that, right?
Section 11 is just pretty much common sense, right? You got a player that's bleeding, they gotta get the bleeding stopped, you know. We don't need them out there with bloody nose, standing out in the middle of the field, you know. You know what you slip on.
Yep, one down, David.
That's my favorite. No jewelry. How many of you wear jewelry out there while you play?
You know, or walk.
Right? No jewelry such as, but not limited to, rings, necklaces, ankle bracelets, wrist bracelets, earrings shall be allowed on any player participating in the game. Any jewelry that may not be removed must be covered by tape or a band-aid. If a player plays with visible jewelry, the opposing coach shall wait for a stoppage in play and bring the infraction to the attention of the umpire in chief of the game. If proven true, then the player shall be removed from the game for the completion of the inning. If this would be the pitcher, he or she would be removed for the remainder of the game as per our rule governing pitchers of record. If the batter is shown to be wearing visible jewelry, he shall be declared out if the opposing coach challenges the player after he has achieved an official at bat.
Are pitchers allowed to wear those, like, white armbands?
No. No. And if you take time, which we're not going to go through, you go in and look through the book, you're going to see like equipment and everything. It's going to give you all the guidelines of what's allowed, what's not allowed, equipment-wise and everything. The biggest problem you run into now is the kids want to wear what I call a mojo. You know what I mean?
Big necklaces,
Yeah. Anything that you see their favorite players wearing, that's what they try to wear. And we can't have it.
again, it's more of a issue of liability, getting hurt.
13 tells you all games will be 6 innings. If they hit 13, then they go to 7.
And that information's all in the back of the book.
Yep.
Game. Run rule limits, we can, I don't know if you want to go that now, or you want to go that a little bit deeper later.
Just always remember, 15 after 3, 10 after 4, 8 after 5. Memorize that. 15 after 3. And then make sure you take a look at that. Okay?
So when we say after 3, is that at the beginning or middle of the 3rd inning, or is that at the 4th inning? So after 3 innings have been played.
So like when the 4th inning.
Yes. So at the top of the 4th, if any team is leading by 15 runs, you can call the game. Right?
Yep.
Same way here, it'll be the top of the 5th. Inclement weather.
We pretty much handle all this end of it.
Yeah.
Biggest, most important thing in inclement weather, and if the game stops and that, we'll go through ground rules to show you where to write on the card. You want to make sure everything's detailed in there. And if it's in the middle of the game,
Yeah.
or somebody calls it lightning, whatever, notate on there what time. Now, always make sure you fill it out completely. What time you started, the time you stop, what inning, record every bit of detail as you can, okay? That helps us here in the office debate whether or not does the score revert back to the previous inning, or does it go where it was at?
Record the timer, time left on the timer.
Right.
A lot of times you may not know the exact start time of the game, but whatever time's left on the timer when we call it, put that on the score sheet so we know whether it's a complete game or whether it needs to be replayed.
And I know it can get difficult sometimes, whether it's bad, everybody's running for the hills or whatever, but try and take time to do that, because it just makes life a nightmare in there.
At the least, go up and hit, stop the timer, just don't clear it, stop it, and then we can take care of it when we get back up to the shed. Yeah. So then, 3. Yeah, I mean, we don't have time to really go through detail of every rule. Here. What did we do that?
Yeah.
5-minute timer.
5-minute timer.
This is what I mentioned earlier, when you go out there with the timer, if it's an hour and a half game time, or game limit, you set the timer for an hour and 25 minutes. That's because no new inning. We'll start, I don't think we listed that here, but the 5-minute timer's gone off and the losing team cannot score enough runs to win the game due to imposing run limit. We'll finish his or her at bat, striking out or achieving base. Any runs that score that will not result as count. So basically, when that timer goes off, you play an hour and 25 minutes. If neither team can come back and win, you let that batter finish their bat, and the game is done. There's no finishing the other team or finishing the inning. It's just done. Now, if either team can come back and win, you have to complete that inning, whether it takes you 10 minutes to complete it or it takes you a half hour to complete it. You have to finish the inning out. Right?
Yep.
And we can cover that a little more, but I mean, I don't know if you guys got any questions on how that works or anything, what might come up.
So like, if the home team is leading by like 6, and they bat last, they bat second, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're leading by 6,
And
the timer goes off when the leading teams,
the visiting team's batting,
yeah, then it's just over. Right?
it's over because the visiting team
They can only
can't.
score 5.
Five.
They can only score 5.
But you let the batter
Yeah.
in the box finish their bat.
And if they score, it don't matter.
Yeah. And we try to explain that in detail to at the manager's meeting, so there's no questions from the coaches, but you always have maybe parents that don't understand it, that'll start hooting and hollering, or coaches that didn't come to the meeting that don't understand it, so.
You let them know when it goes off, like,
Yeah, it's behind you on the fence, so when it goes off, if there's a batter in the box and you hear it going off, don't let that play finish first, and then call time for the ball. Even if they're in the middle of their bat, let the pitch go, throw back, call time, go back off, turn it off, and then finish the at bat, or finish the inning if you need to. Okay. You want to cover that one from the space?
Yeah, okay, so you guys are gonna be doing 9U and possibly some 10U, right? Personally, I don't recommend ever calling a runner out. You have that option at 9U to automatically do it, right?
Yeah.
But don't do it. Let them appeal, okay? If you got a runner that misses a base, don't do anything unless they appeal. Now, they have the option, it's gotta be dead. Once the ball is dead, they can do a physical appeal, or the coach, or somebody can just say, hey, Lou. And if you've seen it, now you make a call. Okay? So they can actually do just a verbal. Most of your 9, 10-year-olds aren't even gonna know how to do a proper appeal anymore. Right?
Yep. I mean, a lot of these, if you guys, play ball, a lot of these rules you probably already know from playing. I don't think we really need to go over that.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't worry about the light as well.
Page 46.
What is it?
Baseball will start page 46 if you want to jump into those. See that? And that section talks about sleeve length for pitchers, what you were asking about wearing a white armband.
White, gray, it even gets down to the color of the gloves.
Yeah. So that's good to review. Now these are basically just strictly applying to baseball. So what we reviewed before would apply to both baseball and softball. Anything not covered in this rule book will revert back to the Major League rule book. Hopefully at 9 and 10 you're not having to go back to this. I think we pretty much covered, lock it down in here, don't we? So baseball dudes will provide the coaches or the teams with balls at the beginning of the season. We do have a specific ball we want to play with. A lot of times, each team will bring 2 balls to the plate. A lot of times that's not enough to get through the game for foul balls, whatever, so you will start seeing some of these balls come in that maybe we didn't provide, and that's okay. Make sure that you don't walk off the field with a bag full of balls, give them back to the coaches with your ball bag. And each team shall provide 2 new baseballs beginning of the game. Again, this is going to change to 46 for pitching, 65 for base, and you're going to go to 46, 65. We'll get that updated in the rule book online and let the coaches know of that change. Now, if you're ever out there and bases say that you're on a field and you notice that the bases are set at 60 and not 65, that's not a point for the team to protest. It's not a point to stop. Being set at 65 is not a disadvantage to anybody. Both teams are playing the same distance. Shoot me a text, Rod a text, or Tina, whoever we give your contact, say, hey, the bases are wrong on this field. Continue to play until we can get over there to correct the problem. Right?
Right. And then even then, once it's correct, it'll be corrected at the end of an inning.
At the end of the
So that it all starts fair on both sides.
Especially if pitching distance is off. We don't want to change it in the middle inning where one team was pitching at 40, now the other team has to pitch at 40.
The problem you're going to have coaches run out there with tape measures, measuring everything as soon as they get there. Put it in pitching now. Because they're worried about that half a foot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Defensive substitution in all divisions, actually except for pitching. Okay? So they can't just bring pitchers in and out. Everybody knows regular baseball rules on that, right?
Well, the new one or old? Because they just changed it.
Which one?
They changed it where the pitcher at least has to face at least 2 batters. And then they do
Major League? Yeah. Ours is one pitch.
For what?
One pitch.
One pitch for what?
To constitute an inning.
Going to rubber constitutes and then you only have
On
to
ours?
pitch.
I didn't realize.
Isn't it? Or did we not get that in there?
So with ours, once they're in baseball, once they're pulled to pitching, they're done. They
Yeah.
can't come back. Even if they go straight from pitching in the center field because we're doing free substitutes. Softball is a different story.
They can, they can get pulled from pitcher and go
They can go anywhere else, they
But
just
they
can't
can't
come
come
back to pitch.
And they can't be pulled from the pitching mound in an outfield position and then back to the pitching mound.
Correct.
Can't do that either.
my first tried to do that one time. I was throwing I was doing really good, took me out, put me in the outfield.
Because you weren't technically removed from the game at that
Right,
point.
yeah.
And then you try to put me back in because the kid that you put in was doing that, and then umpire's like, nope.
No, yeah. Now softball, on the other hand, the starting pitcher can return once. Okay? You get pitchers, the starting pitcher pitches, they pull her in the third, right? Put her in the second. She's the only one that can re-enter back in, so she could come back in the fourth. That's on softball. Just a quick note on that, we'll have a softball.
Yeah.
I don't know what time they called it
I
over
thought we talked about that because it was,
there. All divisions, once removed pitching, even if the pitcher in left field, is playing out by, however, the player may remain in the game at any other position. Should a manager or coach make 2 trips to the mound within the same inning, the same pitcher, that pitcher must be removed from pitching. Everybody knows that, right?
so I thought we did that because we had a team one time that would put a pitcher on the mound before game and then pulled them and put a different pitcher in before the game started.
Like that pitcher did warm-ups, and then they,
Yeah.
before he faced the batter, he took him out.
They took them out and put another pitcher in to warm up before I actually pitched the game. I thought that's where we're talking, maybe we didn't get that in there, but I know we talked about doing that.
I don't remember what you're saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's fully aware about 3 trips, right? They go out, he goes out, makes 2 trips to one pitcher. That pitcher's gotta go. Bring a new pitcher in. He makes a trip to that pitcher and it's still the same inning, what has to happen?
That'd be good.
All right. Hey, we're up to 9 now.
Can that pitcher, can the manager go out and talk to the pitcher before the game starts? He's out on the mound and warming up before the game starts. He crosses that line, goes out and talks to the pitcher. Are we charging them or not?
Fine.
No?
Before the game starts?
So their outfielders out there, pitcher warming up. Some of your senior umpires will call them it the other way. Once they toed that rubber and started warming up, if they crossed that line, they were trying to do them. That's why I wanted to see.
Before the game or before the inning?
Before the game.
Before the game and shit.
Okay.
Problem you got with the innings, in between innings, if coach goes out there, it's gotta be called a trip, because by our rule, that next inning begins
With the last out.
at the last out. So it has nothing to do with the pitcher throwing or anything going on. As soon as that final out's made in the second, it's automatically the third inning started. Okay? 9 years. No drop third strike. Right? No automatic out. No infield fly rule. Why no infield fly rule? Anybody know? Why don't we have one? Does everybody know what an infield fly rule is?
There's no lead off.
Right. No lead off. Okay. That's where the catch could be, because if you're doing 9U and you do 10U and you lead off, they get infield fly. Right?
That's what's in the practice book.
Oh, okay. Not allowed to pitch more than 3 innings in one game, no more than 5. Please note that it is not our job to track this, the coaches is left their responsibility, okay? As far as how many innings they pitched in the last 3 days. It's impossible for us to track that. Okay? That's put in there a long time ago. They're throwing a straight up 9-inch ball. Automatic out is be called by the umpire if he or she views a base runner missing a base upon the runner reaching the next base or after. I recommend no. I'm just telling you. It's in there. You can do it. Alright, if you really wanna take a home run away from little Johnny, cause he does third base going home, you think about it, it might be a little dangerous getting out of there.
Yeah, let them appeal that.
You want that one? Base runner must hold his or her base until the ball is released from the pitcher's hand.
We need to correct that, it's a G, not F. Yeah, so basically you gotta watch that too for the leadoff or players leaving early.
That's where the other problem you're gonna run into. Stuff, that's why you always gotta know what you're going into per acre. Because in all reality, in 90, the best position for you to be is on the outside, viewing in. Because if you're on the inside, like you see regular umpires right behind the pitcher, how are you gonna see that runner lead road? But now when you go to 10U,
They can lead off.
you have to be on the inside. Because they can lead off. So, remember that. And when we go into field positioning, we'll be showing you that. That's gonna be the hardest part for you to remember.
And you guys that are doing both Pee-wees and flare pitching, Pee-wees you're standing on the outside. So when you then, 9U, you're still on the outside, but if you do 10U, you gotta remember you're coming inside the baseline.
Base runner may not score on a pass ball, wild pitch, or drop strike. They may, however, advance and score when a play is being made on them only. Everybody understand what that means? Got a runner at third. Okay, runner at first. Runner from first steals to go to second. Just put it right now, right?
Yep.
Catcher throws down to second, throws past him.
Guy at third,
No.
Why couldn't he go?
Oh, because it wasn't, the play wasn't on the hand.
So if he's,
And so the runner at second can't advance.
so if he's.
Now, if they have nobody at third, runner goes to second, they throw down, misses, overthrow, that runner can go all the way from second all the way home. Made on the runner, play made on the runner. That's one rule that the coaches get messed up
Yep.
every year. They have no comprehension. Because the way they read or they think about it is it only has something to do with a runner at third,
Yeah.
pass ball at home plate. That's to allow them to practice throwing without punishment.
Get what we call snowball fight out there, so you play it at first, you have bases loaded, and now all of a sudden the bases are cleared because you overthrew it first. They pick the ball up, try to make the play at second, they overthrow it second, so everybody's just wrong.
Yeah. Now, if they catch, you get a runner on third, the catcher picks the ball up, throws it to third, the runner at third can go home. Try to make a play out of it.
But that runner that advanced to second can only go as far as third because there was no play made on him. So, you know, I guess it's baseball.
Right. It's the same on softball. Yeah.
Yeah, same way on softball, that little, same way on softball.
Flies both ways there.
Any questions on that? I know. You'll probably get questioned at by the coaches. So make sure you get a good understanding of that rule.
If they do that, you just make them all go back.
Yep. You send them back to where they were. That's why too, it's a good idea to pay attention to where the runners are and know what the result of the play might be so that you know when that happens, where everybody's shifting back to. Okay? And then, I don't know if you want to get into anything on that or,
Oh, because they could have.
Yeah.
Doing 10
yeah, if you do 10U baseball, everybody know how to, what a balk looks like, how to call it, when to call it.
Most is when they, like, throw way out.
Intentionally trying to deceive the runner.
Now, big question. This got my coaching for a fight. The Johnny Cueto, is that allowed?
The what?
Johnny Cueto, how he pitches, where he lifts up his foot, goes back, and then goes for the goal. Is that allowed?
know, it is break that.
When? That happened one.
We're not gonna nitpick though.
Especially at this age, because they're still learning how to pitch. And you're gonna see a lot of blatantly
We
obvious.
had time, we have a nice video to
Yeah.
show you all on the ball.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have time.
I would show that, yeah, slip that
But
on.
we try not to nitpick, you know, you're talking about blatant,
Yeah.
I mean, especially at 10. You know, if even mine comes up and does one of these numbers,
That,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Blatant. Because really, the balk rule is to an attempt to deceive the runner. So the 10-year-old, how many of them are actually trying to deceive the runner? They're just trying to keep their sense about it and get the ball on plate. They're throwing now, and you're throwing 46 feet, pitching off a mound.
That was playing pitch limit, which we covered already. That's in the back of the book. 4 consecutive innings. And we're not gonna get into 12 yet, those age groups. Again, as you guys move up, stay with it. You gotta move up, start doing older kids as you get older. It'll be up to you to start knowing these rules when you move up. I think Rod mentioned before, it's a 4-year gap, so.
Right.
Hopefully, beginning of the season, when you guys start doing player pitch, that you won't be with anybody in here as your partner. You'll be with somebody that's actually had a year or two of experience that kind of knows what's going on, so you're not thrown out there with 2 new people that have never done it for 4 years. Should be with somebody that's been out there, so. Now, as we get later in the season, when you guys get some more experience, you may be able to start working with each other, but at least beginning of the season, if 2 of you sign up for the same game, and Rod sees that, he will go in and pull one of you off of that game and put a more experienced umpire with you.
Shifting around.
Yeah. So don't be surprised if you take a game and you're trying to schedule with somebody you know at the beginning of the season. You might end up with a different umpire just for that reason, because we don't want 2 new people out there in the same game. But just helps avoid issues. The Pee-wees are a little different. I mean, you know, in Pee-wees, if you guys sign up for a game together, then we'll probably go ahead and let that go for now. But it's the players pitch we'll get a little more strict on who's working with it, right?
Yeah, 'cause it's a lot easier for you till you get 20 games under your belt to have somebody there that's already done a year or 2 already, or longer, preferably.
Yeah.
But they don't get out when you mess up. Because odds are you're gonna mess up.
And we know that, coaches know that, so, you know, it's not the end of the world if you make a bad call. Pick yourself up, move
I
on.
never made a bad call one time.
See?
Right, every time.
Yep.
All right, any questions? Hey, cruise through it. There ain't nobody here to ask
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
They're doing all wire, all. I had to practice talking to a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably about 10 minutes left, so.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's pretty much, we'll get into, like Rod said, we'll pull a ball field up here, we'll go with, positioning, where you need to be, where you need to stand, different play scenarios, how you need to move, how you need to pivot on the field to get in a good position to make the call. And both of those are a little different from the Pee-wees to the player pitch, so.
They're a little more interesting than reading rules.
Yeah, we have a nice strike zone video that will show you guys the strike zone, how to call it, where it should be.
And even if you play strike zone from an umpire perspective, it's different from a player. Any questions? No? We'll see you next week. You're right here.
Can we watch that ball?
Yeah.
No, we'll have it, we'll show it to you guys.
It'll be a different meeting.
I think it's out there from last year, but, yeah. But no, we'll show class one week.
We'll get you farther down the road.
Yeah. Alright? Yeah, if you guys don't have anything, I think we'll wrap it up, we'll pick it up next week. I don't know what we do next week.
Round.
Ground rules, so.
fun stuff.
Yep. There's only 4 of you though, we may have to end up doing something else too, so.
That might be a good time to put the video.
Still the video in there, so, okay.
All right?
All right, well, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next week, hopefully.